episode of the Lisa Pezik Show. We are still here. If you're listening to this live, we are still in pandemic time. We are still in this pause, maybe ramp up, maybe reality of whatever you're living right now. I saw someone earlier talking about we are all in this storm together, but we are not on the same boat. And I think that's so fitting and so true of the time right here, right now. That's why I am excited to have a newfound friend on my podcast. I'm going to introduce you here in a moment to Barbara Nixon. She is all the way from the UK. You know how much I nerd out about bringing women together, new connections, collaboration. So I'm so excited to have Barbara here today to talk about navigating this boat that you're on and the productivity, what that means to you, what's realistic in this time. And we're going to dig into exactly what productivity means right here and now. So, Barbara, thanks for being here with me.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh, me too. So let me tell you about Barbara. So Barbara helps business owners and leaders get unstuck, improve their mindset, grow their confidence, maximize their productivity so they can get the success they really want. After 20 plus years in the people development arena, I love that you call it an arena, and helping hundreds of people achieve their potential, Barbara kept seeing amazing people holding themselves back and getting in their own way of their own success. As someone who has been there, worn the t-shirt when it comes to improving your own mindset, she's now on a mission to help amazing people bust through their comfort zones, prime their mindset for success, and really step into their own power so they can achieve their goals. I love this last part. And after all, life's too short to play small. Ooh, I love that because this is definitely a demanding situation that we are in, trying to navigate this really unknown, especially for me, us like control freaks that like want to have it all figured out and mapped out. I don't know about you, but I've been living like hour to hour, minute to minute in my home. What's it been like for you in this time in your home?
Totally the same. It's just, can you remember what day it is, Lisa, let alone what time it is?
I know,
it's
right?
Just crazy, isn't it? I live by my diary because like I said, I just cannot remember what day it is. And the problem is that you can get to the point where you don't take any time off, you're just working every single day because the weekends are exactly the same. But yeah, it's just crazy town at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah, and I found that things are taking longer. Like something that used to take me a half hour or an hour is now taking me 4 hours if it even gets done. Because I've got a little one, 6 years old at home, so he's hungry, he's bored, he has to ask me a question, he wants to tell me a story, he wants to show me something cool. It's just, giving myself that grace to allow things to take longer in this time. So let's dig into productivity. What exactly does productivity mean? Are there like do's and don'ts of productivity? Or tell us a little bit about, to you, what does productivity mean?
Well, productivity is getting stuff done in a nutshell, getting stuff done and above all, being happy with what you've got done. So this is where I see so many people fall down, is where they have super long lists, they have great intentions. And at the end of the day, they've been busy, they know they've got stuff done, but they just don't understand exactly where they've actually put their time. Have you ever had days like that where you've got to the end of the day and you think, actually, I've been super busy, I've not sat down, I know I've done stuff, but nothing's actually moved a needle on where I want to be. And that's what productivity is all about, making sure that you are maximizing and leveraging your time so that you're actually getting the stuff done that will make a difference rather than being busy. It's not about being busy, it's actually getting the things done that will move the needle.
Yes, not all tasks are created equal. It's not about the number of things that you get done. It's the quality of what you get done. And if it's the right move to make, right? Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah.
And was that something that you had to figure out the hard way in your own life? Or
so true. I mean, I have a corporate background, so I was always, in the early days, I was working, you know, a full-time job. I had 4 kids. So I was, you know, there was a time when I was studying in the evening. There was a lot of stuff going on, as I'm sure loads of people have got you know, in their lives too. But the thing is that I found that I was busy from the second I woke up to the second I was going to bed, and I just didn't feel like I was getting anything done. So I realized that I had to make a massive shift, just so that I was focusing on the right things, really scaling down and focusing my attention on the things that will actually make a difference. And this is where I see so many people falling down, because we get used to being on that treadmill, that hamster wheel, don't we, of just trying to get through our to-do list. But how much of the things, if you look at your to-do list right now, if you're listening to this, how much of the things on your to-do list are actually going to make any difference? If you didn't do them, nothing would change. And it's just about opening your eyes to what are you actually spending your time on, your valuable time on. But yeah, I had to learn that the hard way, definitely.
Yeah, I love that you use the term scaling down, because usually when we hear down, we think like, or the worry I think is, if I scale down, I'm gonna miss opportunities. I'm not gonna make money. I'm not gonna have relationships. But scaling down actually opens up that space to do those things that make you feel really good, like you talked about in the beginning. Do you ever hit resistance when you tell people, like, you got to scale that, when you coach people and you're like, you got to scale that down, or you got to stop doing those things that don't move the needle? Are there fears that come up for people?
Oh yeah, man, yes. Because I think we're conditioned to be busy. You know, we kind of kid ourselves that if we're busy, we're actually doing stuff, we're actually getting stuff done. But being busy is not productive. It doesn't equal being productive, right?
Yeah.
And also it's about kind of getting rid of the control. You know, there's a lot of things on your list that you don't have to do, or it doesn't have to actually be done by you, or it's not in your superpower, so why are you spending time on it? I remember a time, Lisa, when I spent all day, you know, I think I was setting up like Outlook or something on my laptop, you know, I was just like some kind and I'm not, and I can like do stuff, but it was not in my zone of genius. I spent all day messing about with this stuff. And then I got to the end of the day and thought, what on earth was I doing that? You know, I could have just paid somebody, even my teenage kid, like give him like a £10 or something. He'd have had it done in 2 minutes. But we do things like this all the time. We focus on things that are just not our superpower. So what are we doing?
And what came up for me was almost like that ego and that control of, one, wearing that badge of busy. Right? We love to tell people how busy we are and how much we work and how much we do. And then almost like that, you wonder if that ego and that control kicks in, like, well, if I said I was going to fix this Outlook, then, you know, gosh darn it, if it takes me all day, and like, I'm going to do this, right? Like it's hard a lot of times to ask for help, or like our ego gets in the way of that control, that like, I said I'm going to do it, so I'm going to do it, or, you know, that kind of thing.
People say to me all the time, well, it's quicker if I do it myself. Well, yeah, it probably is, but then you're always going to be doing it yourself. If you like doing it yourself, it's, you know, you're happy with it always being on your list, and you're doing that at the expense of doing something that will really make a difference, go for it. But chances are, you know, at the end of the month when you need more clients, or you need to do something else, or you want to go for different opportunities and you don't have time, then it's, you know, it's time to look at what you have been doing instead.
Totally. And I find what was eye-opening for me, so when I first opened my business, probably similar to you, it was like me, myself, and I doing everything, because that's what you do when you first start out. Then as we've got VAs, we've got assistants, we've got help now. I found when I was looking at like the time reports from what my VA was doing, it was like 10 minutes here, 20 minutes here, 15 minutes here, 30 minutes here, 5 minutes here. And at a first glance, I'm like, oh, that's actually not like, you know, okay, it's only 5-10 minutes. But then when I added it up, it was like 4 or 5 hours a week, like 8 hours a week, 10 hours a week, depending on what was going on. When I could just do it myself, or it would be faster. When you add all those pieces up, you're like, oh my God, 8 hours, it's like a whole work day, 10 hours. All those little bits and bites add up, right?
But the thing is, it'd have taken you longer.
Totally.
Your PA knows how to do it super quick.
Yes.
So that 8 hours would have been 16 hours of you doing it. So
Yes.
it is just crazy, isn't it? It's crackers just why we put ourselves in this situation. I remember reading a quote by, I think it was Richard Branson, who said, you can't afford to not hire people, the first member of staff. And I think that's so, it really, when I read it, it kind of hit me and I thought, oh crikey, because when you first start, you kind of kid yourself that it's cheaper if you do it yourself, or you can't afford to pay that. But actually, if you add up your time or what you're not doing as a result, then you can't afford not to.
Totally. It's like you want to have that freedom in your business to do the things that only you can do. Because usually when you do those things that only you can do, back to what you were talking about, that is when the productivity goes up, the satisfaction goes up, the income goes up, the impact goes up. When you're doing those things, you're running and doing those things only you can do, and other people are doing those things that they're good at, and people want to be helpful. Like, I don't know about your VA, my VA loves doing the work that I give her. I remember when we hired help just around the house because we wanted some more time to do work. My husband and I are both entrepreneurs. We found a college student who loves laundry. Like I hate laundry, and she's like,
is this such a person? It's amazing, isn't it, when you find that person and you think, you love doing this, come on in.
Right? And the same, we would give her like 4 loads of laundry. She would put her headphones in, and in like 20 minutes she was done. Like, I'm like, that would take me like an hour because I'd be like complaining and I'd be distracted and like so efficient, so happy. But I'm like, oh my God, I actually found somebody who loves laundry. So like that thing that you're convincing yourself that you need to do, that's frustrating you, there's probably somebody out there that like loves to do that and wants to do it, right?
And when you find that person, that's really magic, isn't it? Yes. And the other thing is that you didn't start your business to do all the stuff that you don't want to do. Yeah. And one thing that I realized when I started my business was that I was doing less of the stuff that I was good at. All the stuff, the reason that I created my business, I was doing like 10% of that, and all the rest of my time was taken up with doing stuff that I did not want to do. And then once I kind of had this epiphany and shifted it, outsourced it, all of a sudden that's when the magic happens.
Yeah. And did that affect, you said you did that when you had 4 kids or have 4 kids, and did that affect you, like, as a mom, like your energy, like, just did that affect your home life when you like figured it out?
Oh, completely. Yeah. Because you've just got more time. You can sleep for a start. You can start going to bed at a reasonable time. You can start just having that valuable time with your family rather than always thinking that you've got to be working. And just having that satisfaction at the end of the day that you've got stuff done. You've got energy, when you're working on things that empower you and give, motivate you throughout the day, and you feel like you're really productive, all of a sudden you've got more energy at the end of the day. You don't feel, lethargic or deflated or, like you just want to slouch on the sofa. You're ready to keep going. And that was something that I was able to then pump back into my personal life.
Yeah. And with 4 kids, you need energy. I only got the 1, and I'm like, oh my God, mom's tired right now. But it's amazing. I was on a call with a mentor a couple of days ago, and somebody asked a question about burnout. Like, do you ever get burnt out? And he said, his exact words, and made me think of that. He said, I'm probably not like the right person to talk about burnout, because he's like, I personally have never been burnt out. But he's like, here's my take on burnout. He's like, burnout is doing the things that you don't want to do. Burnout is living somebody else's dream. Burnout is doing the I have to's, and nobody else will do it. If I want to get it done right, I have to do it myself. And, like, he's like, burnout is doing something you don't want to do and living somebody else's dream. Exactly what you were talking about. When you're doing the things that light you up, you want to do it. You have more energy. You're excited. So I think that's a really good gut check right now for everyone, whether it's in your personal life or your professional life or your business. Like if you're feeling that you're not sleeping well, that frustration, that overwhelm, that burnout, that looking at your list and being so busy and maybe ticking it all off, but not feeling fulfilled, are those things really moving the needle for you? Do they need to be done, or is your ego and the control, getting in the way? And as we were talking about before we hopped on, like this is the time, even if you are busier than ever, this is that gift of time to really look at, once this is done, what are you running back to and what are you not running back to, right? Is there anything for you that's come up in this time that you're like, I'm not doing that no more, I'm not going back to that, things are going to be different in this household or my business, kind of thing?
Yeah, I think the biggest piece of learning that I've got from this is just being present, right? I realized during this time that I got hooked on looking forward to stuff. Yeah, looking forward to the next vacation, or looking forward to the next school holiday, or looking forward to the next, opportunity, like doing this with you. Always looking forward to something. And in the past few weeks, I've grown accustomed to just living for the now, and it's refreshing. Yeah, and I'm not in a hurry to go back to just being future focused. I love the fact that I'm being so much more present. I'm being so much more attentive, not to just to other people like my family, but to me and my work, and really just focusing on the here and now. And I think that was a great lesson for me.
Yeah, that's huge, because I think even before this pandemic, the population probably struggled. A lot of people struggle with presence. I know I struggle with it as well. And now, as you said, that's just, it's like that gut check of where your head is at every day, because especially I think, when there is devastation, when people are losing their lives and losing battles, you really focus on what matters. Like every day is a gift. The right here and now is a gift. Even I've looked back at like reverence for the fact that, both of us, as we talked about, we're still working. We are busy. We are needed. I don't know about you, but I worked really hard to be able to be in this spot where I'm needed. So I know that's something I struggled with, is like celebrating and giving myself, like saying like, yeah, good. Like, again, like I'm always like, hey, what's the next thing I'm going to accomplish? What's the next goal I'm going to smash? What's the next thing I'm going to do? And the same, that like presence of, I am right here and now based on all the hard work I've done over the last decade and then some. Let's just sit in that and be grateful for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm such a big person for celebrating your success, because how often do we really kind of look back and go, wow, how far have we come, right? And the fact that I can be present right now and I am still working is a result of all of that graft that we've been through. So it is lovely just to kind of just celebrate, isn't it?
Yeah. And for listeners, maybe it's, for Barbara and I, it's the work we've done in our business and with our families and raising children and our marriages and, all of that, the life that we've built. That's the same for you. If you get to the end of the day and you're like, food was on the table, laughs happened in my house, forts were built. That's like our big thing. Like I had to clean up. I know listeners can't see it, but there were like forts and like matchbox cars, like all behind.
I'd have loved to see that.
We were like, we were doing homework in the fort at one point. Like, it's like, celebrate just life. Like you're all together, and even if you lost your temper and arguments happened, or it's a way to go, you know what though, we're still together in this house and we love each other and we'll figure it out. Like every moment, celebrate every learning, everything right now, because every day, that presence really is such a beautiful point that you brought up. That is what we have right here and now to celebrate, right?
And that's what makes up life, isn't it? Just all those small, tiny moments. I have something that it's been a habit of mine for a long time, for many years, but it's something that I teach as well, that to have a celebration journal at the side of your bed. So basically it's very basic. It's just a notebook at the side of your bed. So before you turn the lights out, you have to write at least 3 things that you're going to celebrate for that day. And these can be the tiniest things, like, you know what, today somebody made me a cup of tea and that was great, you know, I'm really happy with that. Or today I played a board game with my kids and that was amazing to do. Today you built a fort and you did your homework in a fort, and how awesome was that? Because you'll remember that forever.
Oh my gosh.
And it can be the teeny tiniest of things. And what I found is that we can censor ourselves and go, that's not worthy, you know, that's not worth writing down, it's not big enough. But it's all of these teeny tiny moments that make up your journey and make up your life, and they all add up. Because again, something that one of my catchphrases, Lisa, is you don't climb a mountain in one leap. It's all the teeny tiny steps, isn't it, that all add up.
Yes.
And I've got older kids now, so they're in the 20s. And they look back, and I you know, sometimes when you're having dinner and you have conversations about what do you remember about being a kid, and you think about, you remember things like holidays and, you know, when you paid for them all to go somewhere that was probably really important to you. And then they remember doing something. Oh, do you remember that time then when we dropped an ice cream in the street? And you go, what? When did that happen? And we all just stood around laughing for ages. And I'm like, it's the teeny tiniest of moments that stick in your head.
Yes.
And we can do that exercise too. We can look back. What are the silly things that we can remember from our childhood? And it's not the big stuff.
No, I love that, because you know, I've heard of like gratitude journaling, but like the celebration journal, that's so fun and so awesome. I remember, and I think it really shows perspective, how everyone just has that different perspective. I remember seeing a post once on Facebook from like a mom's group or something, and it was like a mom asked her kids like what their favorite dinner was, and they had like said something along the lines of like the mixed plate that had like, you know, goldfish crackers and cheese and like, you know, whatever, like just, and the mom was like, oh my God. Yeah, like those were the days when I was like so exhausted to cook that I literally just like grabbed something, but the kids were like, that was my favorite like dinner of all time, and the mom in her mind's thinking, I'm failing my children, I'm, you know, this and that, I'm stressed out, and it was their favorite moment.
I know,
right?
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, like taking out, I think, which is so critical right now too, is what you talked about, taking out the judgment. Like how people are like, oh, that's not big enough to celebrate. This wasn't some big epic earth-shattering movement that happened today that I led. Take the judgment out of it.
And the great thing about it is, after you've been doing it, not even for very long, you've then got something you can look back on. You know, for those moments where you feel like you've not achieved stuff, or you're feeling just a bit in a bit of a dip. We all have days like that. You can just flick back and go, crikey, that was a good day. Or just look at the small things that you've celebrated. And just how it made you feel so good, because it must have done it. It was worthy to write down, right? So no matter how small it is, if it's worthy to write down, it's something to celebrate.
Totally. I love that. And do you think, so we talked a bit about like judgment, we talked a bit about the needle moving stuff versus the not needle moving stuff. Are those some of the common things that get people stuck? Like we were talking about how you really get people unstuck. Is there anything else that our listeners should know about, watch out for this trap or watch out for this pothole?
Yeah, so many. One question that I always ask is, if you only had 2 hours to work in a week, what would you focus on? Just those 2 hours. And literally you were all the other time was taken away. You couldn't work during the rest of the time. So you just had 2 hours. What would it be? And then whatever you write down, so how much time are you actually spending on those things? Because chances are probably not very much. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? So if you literally had 2 hours, what is it that you would do? Yes. And once you start thinking about that, usually you've come up with things that you're not even spending time on.
Yeah, not setting up Microsoft Office.
You know, exactly, yeah. And it's usually the stuff that you're avoiding, because I bet we've all got stuff on our list, and I know, you know, I'm not perfect, I have to things on your list that you know would make a massive difference to whether it's your life, your business, whatever, and you are avoiding it. They have been on your list forever. And I remember, I mean, every year, I don't know whether you do this, Lisa, but every New Year's, sometimes people do it on their birthday, but I do it on New Year's. I write a list of all the things that I want to achieve that year, you know, in the next coming year.
Yes.
And one year, and this was probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I realized that I was writing the same stuff. Yeah. So I wanted to, exactly the same big things were coming up. And I thought, hang on a minute, what's going on here? So do I really want to do it, or am I avoiding it? And chances are these are things that will really make a difference to your business, because you've been writing it down, you know secretly that it would make a difference, but you're resisting it. And it's time to actually be honest and think, right, what's the deal there? What are we going to do?
Oh, that's such a good gut check right now. Oh my gosh. Yes. Because you're right. You know, people, it's easy to use the I don't know, or I'm not, you know.
You know, I have this firm belief that we all secretly know. Deep down inside, we all secretly know what we want to do, or we secretly know what we should be doing, or we secretly know why we're not doing something, right? But we come up with excuses. My excuse way back when the kids were little was, oh, I'll do it when the kids are older. And one day I realized that they didn't care whether I was like doing something in my business or not. They didn't care. So what was I doing? Just an excuse. And the same excuse, I don't have time, I don't have the money, I don't have the right qualifications, or I don't have the experience, all of those things popping up.
Yes.
But secretly, deep down inside, we all know that we're actually just
For me, it was for a while in the beginning, I still worked my full-time job while I was growing this business. And the same, it was like, oh, when I quit my full-time job, then I'll have the time to do that. Then I can really fully go all in. And that was all just muck, right? It was all that, you know, it's easier to stay comfortable and stay safe. But you're right. That's not what, that comfort and that ease isn't what always, when you put your head on the pillow at night, makes you go, dang, like I feel good. I did good work today. I did meaningful work. I made a difference. I loved on people. I was present. Right?
You know, sometimes as well, it's about understanding that you're comfortable today, but there's going to be a point where that comfort zone, or that, that feeling of being safe, is going to feel rubbish, right? Because we're going to start to feel stuck, and we're going to start to get frustrated with ourselves, and we're going to start to want other things that we've not actually pursued. So all of a sudden, at some point, it does shift, and that's when you know that it's time to take action.
Totally. And that's why it's so important to know, if you only had 2 hours to work, what moves the needle? What are you going to focus on?
Yeah. What should you be doing right now? And if there's any kind of resistance there with, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. That's a common one. You were doing the same thing, yeah? Of, oh, I'll do it when I quit my job. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it one day. I'll do it next time. If those thoughts are going around in your head, it's time to sit down and go, okay, why can I not do it today? What's really stopping me from doing it right now?
And it's all doable.
It's all doable. It's all doable. Yeah, when you do it, like you said, you be dancing around the living room at the end of the day.
Totally. Or like the things that we tell her, like I can remember even the littlest thing being like, there is nobody on this planet that like loves to do laundry. Well, we found someone who loves to do laundry. Like the things we tell ourselves, they're just not true, right?
They're not true. So
or
not
how
true.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I was going to say, and we do that as mums, right? We kind of, the stories that we tell ourselves about things we should do. And we talked about this in the last time we chatted about the fact that I do not pair socks anymore. I had this realization that life was just too short to pair socks. And did anybody ever see the paired socks under school? Yes. It was on my boots usually, nobody knows. So that's it. I'm taking that job off the table.
Yeah.
I'm telling myself I don't need to do it.
I love it. And that's so freeing, just to be like, I'm done. with that. I'm done. I'm done. No more. All right.
I know, right? I don't ever have to do that because this is what I'm choosing today.
I love it. That's like empowerment. That's choice. Like that. Oh, I love it. Yeah. So it's like those things. Look through, listeners. Like look through your life. Look through those things. Give yourself that gift to really look at it and go, do I need to do that? Do I need to worry about that? Does that need to happen? Is that needle moving? Right? If I only had 2 hours today, would I be pairing socks? Like, if I had only 2 hours of productive time, would I be matching socks from the laundry? Probably not, right?
Probably not.
Not going to be on your, gravestone. Barbara was an amazing sock pairer. Let's remember her for that, right?
I would come back, yeah. I would haunt somebody if that ended up on my gravestone.
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh.
It's so funny. But it is liberating when you have just moments and you think, why have I been thinking about that? Why has this ever taken up any of my precious time?
So true. And we're really seeing that right here and now, that presence, that time, it's precious right now. Another day on this planet is precious.
It really is.
Oh,
in fact, we're spinning so many more plates now, aren't we?
And you really look at what matters and what doesn't matter. And even just for me, it's such an energy thing. I know a lot of people are like, oh, don't base your to-dos on your feelings. And no, there are things that I'm like, you know what, if that frustrated me, like I think about the outlook, that you like, if that spent that much time, headspace, energy, frustration, I need to come up with a plan around that because I don't want to lose another day to that. I can't afford to lose another day to that, right?
You are not going to be bouncing out of bed to do that, are you? That's going to force you to keep hitting that snooze button every morning. You want something that you want to do.
Yeah. And again, nobody's going to come to you and be like, congratulations, Barbara, you mastered Outlook. Here's your certificate of Outlook master for this day. Like, like again, it's like we're like the ego. We're like, oh, if I do this, people are going to see this. And no, people don't care.
People don't care. People don't know. I'm not going to write on my footer, my signature of my email. Did you know I set this up myself? Check me out.
Can you imagine? Emails from Barbara's Outlook, which I set up by myself.
I'm going to send you an email from, straight after this, Lisa. Just check out the signature.
Oh my God. I love it.
As if it's just nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to care. It's all in your head.
Totally. And it goes back to, making sure we're doing those things that are really serving and helping others. Like that's what they're going to know. That's what they're going to remember, whether that's something business related, making that live video, writing that email. It's like, it's the content in the email that matters more than where it's sent from. Right?
Absolutely. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe it's that instead of pairing socks, you're going to go call your friend who lost their job right now, or you're going to go call your friend who has 4 kids under the age of 5 and is trying to work from home. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're going to take that necessary time to lend a hand or to have some support and then do something that you just want the praise for getting it done kind of thing, right?
Yeah, so true. And you know how we talked about what do your kids remember? We've all got those memories of our friends and at least even people that we follow online. What is it that makes us follow this person? What did they say? When did they show up that really meant something to me? When did I get that call or that email that was really important? And what can you do to be that person for somebody else?
Yeah, I saw like all these quotes are just like coming up in my head from like things that I see, and it was the same like Mr. Rogers. They had like a quote from Mr. Rogers that he said, in times of struggle or in times of distress, look for the helpers. Yes. And that's what it is, right? It's like be a helper, whatever that means to you. Yeah. I love
really
that.
No wrong answer there, is there? So no matter what it is, it doesn't matter how small. What can you do to be a helper? Even just posting a quote that resonates with you.
Yeah.
How's it gonna help somebody else today?
Because you never know. You never know where that's hitting, who that's hitting, who needs that. Oh, I love that so much. So we need a part 2 because I could just talk to you for hours on end. So good. Listeners, come back to this. I know we filmed this in a time of pandemic and a turbulent time and a time when we are balancing all these plates and wearing many hats. But this is kind of like a business and life how-to, which is exactly what this podcast is intended for. So come back to this one when, you know, you are feeling that frustration or you're feeling like you're not moving the needle. Come back to this when things are amazing and you now want to serve more and give more and go deeper in what you're already doing. Barbara, this was absolutely amazing. I want to tell them how they can contact you. They want to get coaching from you. They want to get in touch with you. They need a jolt and some help in their life. You're going to go to Barbara's is it your website? Yes, Barbara's website, www.barbaranixon.co.uk. Don't worry if you are folding laundry and cooking eggs and building forts right now and you don't have a pen and paper. I will put that in the show notes so you can refer back to this. Last question that I ask people. Mm-hmm. What are you so super excited about in the next month? Like, is there I know we just talked about living in the present moment, but is there anything that you're like, ooh, this big thing is happening, or I'm doing this thing, or maybe it is, I'm going to do this differently? Is there anything in the next month that like totally geeks you out and makes you so excited?
Ooh, that's a great question, Lisa. What am I excited? Because I'm thinking, crikey, I am living in the present right now. I think for me, I'm excited about just seeing how this whole situation kind of pans out, and just, I'm enjoying serving people. I'm enjoying showing up, and also just helping people get through to the other side. Yeah, I'm excited to see what the new normal looks like.
Yeah,
that's for me.
Yeah, I love that.
I'd love to know what that is for you.
Yeah, for me, this was the year of events. Like I had spoken on other people's stages and, you know, podcasts, do a lot of stuff online. But this was the year that I was like, I'm going to host my own events, and had like, you know, venues booked. And now it's like, well, we don't even know if we don't even know, right? People are like, oh, you might be okay for your event in July. You might be okay in September. We don't know. We're taking it day by day, hour by hour. So I always find that really exciting because I know that, so we're starting to pivot and plan to do stuff online and online summits and online stuff. And I just find that so interesting that you can plan, you can set a declaration, you can have everything moving, and then like you're so sure this is the way something's gonna go because you state it, and then it all just completely changes like that right before your eyes. So I'm excited to still serve and carry out the mission of what I wanted to achieve in those events. Just now it's like back to the drawing board, and how do we do this? Like, how do we still have that effect? So in a way, it's just exciting to always be in that challenging situation because the skills that you get out of it. So it's just funny because I was like, I'm going to be on this stage and we're going to host it here. We're going to do these events. And now it's like, okay, well, that's probably not going to happen. So how do we fix this now, right?
Exactly. And it's going to happen, but just not right now.
Yeah.
I'm nudging it forward a little bit. But right now I'm going to serve in a different way and just get your creative juices flowing and see what that looks like.
Totally.
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
It is exciting. And same for you, you know, helping people get through this and come out on the other side. When you're a helper, there's always work for you to do. You know, when you're a helper, that need is always in the world. And that's just beautiful. I love that so much. So listeners, www.barbaranixon.co.uk, get in touch with her, share this episode, email me, respond, reply. Is there something from Barbara that really stuck out that you want to know more about? I'll have Barbara back and we'll do a part 2 episode if that is the case. So your feedback is always appreciated. Love that you're here. Love that we're still doing this together, serving you, being here together, making a difference in this world. Be well, and cannot wait to serve you again. Thank you so much from me to you here on the Lisa Pezik Show. Bye for now.